Welcome to Modern Media Station. I request Professor P.M. Paratrane ma'am to start today's session.
Good evening, one and all. Honorable Principal Dr. R.S. Zunzarao, Vice Principal Dr. Anjali Sardesai Madam, all our Vice Principals of every faculty, HODs, UG and PG coordinators, and my dear students. Today, we have to come to end of this induction program. Today is the last day of this induction program. First of all, I am thankful to the college authorities for giving me opportunity to coordinate this program. I congratulate you all and your parents for the right decision, that is education and career from modern college. While walking through the life journey towards our aim, sometimes we get stress of some necessary and unnecessary things. Today, we will hear about stress management from our speaker, Honorable Speaker, Mr. Prashant Stephens. Let me introduce our speaker. He is trainer, facilitator, and educator. He is a qualified learning and development professional having more than 12 years of cross-functional experience into corporates, educational institutions, and CSRS. He has also conducted various soft skills, behavioral, and life skills training programs. His biodata is full of various notable achievements. Let us hear him live now. I invite Mr. Prashant Stephens, sir, to take over. Sir.
Thank you, everyone. I personally want to thank the entire college authorities, the respectable principals, then our vice principal, madam, and all the faculties and my dear students for this wonderful session. And I personally thank them for inviting me for this session. Talking about stress management is part and parcel of everyone's life. And you as students, you are not exception to this. So having 12 plus years of experience into the corporate arena, having worked with some of the multinational organizations, I also have worked in international segment. Stress is definitely a great part of our professional journey. And as you have stepped into your educational stream, you have upgraded yourself. You are launching yourself towards a new learning path. I congratulate you all for taking this decision, and I welcome every one of you for this session. So I'll quickly start my presentation, and I invite all of you to be part of my presentation. You can just deep dive, understand the concepts. You can take notes if you want, and you can take your own learnings, right? So I'll quickly share my screen, and we are going to start the session on stress management. So I hope my screen is visible. Yeah. So stress management, this is a very interesting subject. I personally love speaking on this topic because I've done a lot of sessions on this. I've also trained many professionals and students like you in this subject itself. So this is one of my favorite subjects when I teach my learners. Stress management, definitely the word itself makes you feel like, it gives you goosebumps. It makes you feel stressed out. But yes, today I want to basically talk not exactly on stress management, but I want to basically make you understand that the word stress itself is not that difficult to digest. Okay, most of you think that, okay, we all see or we all hear many doctors giving a lot of such inputs, and you might have been watching videos on YouTube's and so many other streams. Maybe you switch on to television. This is a very common disease which is prevalent in our society. We are not alien to this because it's part of our life. We all are victims to this disease. But yes, we have to see the positive side. So today, I'm going to make you understand that stress is not the word which you really have to really think in a negative way. And what is stress? We all know. Maybe when you think about stress as a topic, as a subject, a lot of things comes to your mind. Maybe something like, okay, I have a performance pressure, especially being into corporate segment. You have all those targets. Even in educational segment, you all have to perform well. You have certain targets, certain scores to achieve, and that gives you a sort of performance pressure. You have a peer pressure that what if I do not score this, and this is what these all elements causes stress. There's another, like now you have dived into the career path. Okay, you are into that rat race. Okay, so primarily this career move is going to definitely give you a lot of stress, and which I'm very sure, because I've been into this domain. I've been into this educational stream like a student, and what stress is, I've experienced it. And this is definitely going to be one of the focal point for you to think on that, which career I have to choose. Am I going to land in a kind of a lucrative organization with a lucrative salary? That is again causing a lot of stress. Then we have something like, for example, family is also a kind of a pressure segment. We have expectations from your parents, we have expectations from your siblings. So many things just keeps piling up. So that's again one of the primarily factor that gives you a sort of stress. Then we also have something like our own commitments. I have to achieve this goal. I have to score 80%. I have to score 90% in this semester. I have to ensure that I crack all my competitive exams, personal commitments. And that's what causes stress, right? Again, we have our financial expectations. Everyone wants to earn well. In today's dynamic market, everyone wants to achieve a good salary, a respectable position. They want to settle as early as possible. But again, to do all these things, you need good finance. Even to support your education, your parents might have taken certain loan. They might have taken certain liabilities. Again, they are into financial stress. Somewhere that burden gets cascaded down to you as well. So again, these are factors. Then personal stress, personal tensions, worries, maybe life experiences, so many other things all pile up and gives you a stress. And I'm very sure you all agree. We can't isolate these things. We can't just keep ourselves away from this. But certainly we can develop a strategy. We can develop certain plan which can help us to combat this stress. Now, what are these? I will show you one by one. So if I just ask you in short, what is stress? We have heard a lot about stress. Okay, I'm getting stressed, I'm getting nervous, I'm getting some sort of pressure in my mind, my brain is not working, I'm not able to take any kind of decisions. That we certainly call it as a stress. But if I just put it in a nutshell, stress is a kind of a syndrome. Okay, it's a kind of a syndrome which people have taken it in a very different way. Okay, so if I just kind of explain it in a very short, crisp definition, stress is the information and energy that you need to process, that you need to use it as a fuel to bring certain change. That certainly gives me a kind of a positive vibe when I think about stress. Stress is nothing, my dear friends. It is just the kind of the demand and capacity gap. The demand and capacity gap. You have certain demand, and that is your capacity. To bridge that gap, you just have to follow a strategy. And what we basically think is just we look at the gap and we feel stressed out. So if you just focus on these two definitions and if you split up them, you will definitely understand that stress is nothing, but it is just the energy, the information that you need to, process and bring certain change in, or whatever action that you are supposed to take. That is called as stress. You have to constantly bridge that gap between demand and the capacity. So that's stress. Then, if I ask you, what are we going to cover today? Is primarily we are going to focus on understanding stress. We are also going to understand how to assess the situation, the stressful situation, what can be done best to combat these situations. Then we are going to understand how we can adjust ourselves in stressful situations. And finally, we are going to create a kind of a resilient work culture, or a life has to be developed in such an environment wherein we build up that resilient environment. Okay, so that's primarily going to be my discussion for today's session. Okay, so I want also you all to deep dive and think about this. So understanding stress is what we are going to focus on. You might have heard a lot, you might have seen a lot of videos on stress, but understanding stress in a positive and negative dimension is very important. If I ask you the simple question, is stress good or bad? Many people or many youngsters like you will always say, sir, stress is bad. I don't like to be in a stressful situation because I just get confused. I'm like, I'm not able to take this decision. I'm completely, freezed up. I'm not able to do anything. So that's stress, right? But if I say, again, coming to the point, it is just that you have to focus on the demand and capacity gap. We are just juggling, my dear friends, between the demand and capacity. Now, how well do we juggle? How well do we prioritize? That's the difference between a successful and unsuccessful person. Do you do you think that everyone in this, like, if I asked you all these successful people, don't you think that they might have gone through the same journey, or they are sailing in the same boat as you are? The difference here lies is that how do you juggle, how do you balance, how do you prioritize your demand and capacity? Okay, so you constantly strive to build or bridge that gap. Okay, stress in other way can be good as well. In technical or in psychological term, it is called as eustress. Now, why it is good? Because it keeps you on your toes. Like, for example, you want to complete one important project. Your college authorities have given you certain deadline. So you always keep a certain tap on the deadline. You keep reminders. You have so many modern devices which keeps you reminding. Okay, you have to submit these projects. You have to complete this assignment. The exams are coming next week, and that deadline will always keep you on your toes. So that can be a stress, definitely, but that's a eustress. That's a positive stress. Another example of being, stress really being good is how you manage your funds. Now, in past, if you had bad experiences that you were completely bankrupt because you didn't utilize your funds effectively, you didn't invest, you didn't diversify your investments, and now you are in this position wherein you know the importance of managing your funds, managing your finances, and that is also kind of a good stress. The next is how stress can really bring you, or like, develop you or give you sort of discipline in your life. You know that you had some bad experiences in past related to your health. You've been putting on weight consistently because of your lazy habits, because of some inconsistency in your lifestyle, because you have never taken care to just walk out and go for a morning walk, or just spend some quality time with yourself, do some meditation. But stress will definitely give you that kick that, no, I have to wake up early in the morning. Maybe I can go for a quick jog. I can just spend some time alone, do some meditation. So that's a good stress that can keep you on your toes. So primarily, if you always think that stress is bad, then definitely it will always give you some negative vibes about stress. And that's what I don't want that to happen. Now, it's just an activity time. Now, I'm pretty sure that you can quickly grab a glass of water. And I do have my glass of water. I want you to understand, like, this activity is very important. I generally do it when I take classroom sessions, and I make them hold this kind of cup in front of, and they can hold it as much as they want. Okay, as long as they are able to hold it. Now, you can do it when you are, as you are watching this, maybe you can pause and then you can grab a glass of water, and then you can quickly, uh, maybe you can just grab a few sips of water like this. Yeah, that's fine. And then you can just hold it like this without any support. You can just hold your glass. Hold it as long as you can. Now, as we have some time constraints, so I won't really, take much of your time. But as you're watching this, you can just pause this video, and maybe you can, quickly grab a glass of water, and just, maybe you can fill it half, or you can fill it full as your capacity is, and just hold on. Maybe you can just switch on your timer, and you can start counting how long you can hold the glass of water. I'll just give you quick 10 seconds to do it. Maybe if you're really good enough. And for me, it's like, sitting and doing this is certainly a very difficult task, a tedious task. But yes, you can just hold on and keep this glass of water, just concentrate on this. Now, after a certain point of time, what will you observe? Here are a few questions that I want you to ponder on. First, how was your experience of holding the glass of water? Maybe some of you might have, been like, you might have been able to do it for 1 minute, 2 minutes, and maybe you are really good enough. You have a good physique and good internal, you have a really good hand-eye coordination. Maybe you are really fit enough. You might have stretched it for another 5 minutes, or at the most 10 minutes. But that's really a rare exception. But then, what my question again comes to you. What did you learn from this activity? You can write down some notes. What was your experience of holding the glass of water? Maybe some of them, they might have heard someone doing this, or or might have seen someone doing this, or might have heard about this activity earlier. But this again question is very predominant. What did you learn from this activity? First question, you can write it down somewhere. Next, did you feel the pressure or pain? Maybe somewhere you initially you were very comfortable holding the glass of water, because that's how you generally feel it. Okay, something new, something good. So let's hold on the glass. Okay, so initially you might be very relaxed. You might just be focusing on it, or maybe just trying to divert your mind, that you're holding the glass of water, and just kind of focusing on the countdown, and just thinking that, okay, I can hold the glass of water for a long period of time. But then as you move on, you certainly feel certain pressure in your joints, maybe in your forearms, or maybe in your joints, or something like that. Another question is, why did you feel the pain? Why did you feel the pain? Do you think that the glass of water was weighing somewhere like 10 or 15 kilos? It might just be weighing, like, the weight of the glass might be just like 100, 200 grams, or maybe more than that. But it's quite manageable. But then another question is, do you think the glass of water was the reason behind it, that you were getting that pain or pressure in your arms, or in your hand, or in your wrist? Answer my question. You can write it down. You can think on this. The activity, the intention of this activity, my dear friends, is that the glass of water is not the reason of you feeling the pressure and pain. It's just like, anyone, even a small child can hold it, and you can just grab it. You can sip. Maybe, you can just drink the water, and you can just put it down. The question here is, why you were feeling the pain and pressure in your arms is because you were holding it for a long period of time. And that's what a stress does. Not the stress, the problem is not the pain area. The problem is not the pain area. The problem is that you're sticking onto the problem for a long period of time. And that's what causes a stress. The problem is that you give more importance to the problem and you keep holding it. And that's where you start feeling the pain and pressure in your joints, or maybe you start feeling the pressure in your life. And that's what exactly stress does. So if there are a lot of things, how much do you hold on and how soon you have to let it go? That's what you need to decide. Benchmark those activities, prioritize it, and that will help you to understand that we are holding the problem for a long period of time, and that's a baggage that we are carrying with us for a long period of time, which is not adding value to your life, and that is called as a negative stress. Next, this is the brain 1-2-3 model. Now let's understand about our brain also. That brain is also an important factor when it comes to stress management. Now, scientists or researchers have developed this theory of brain 1-2-3 model, which tells us that our brain is one of the most powerful organ in our body. Maybe some of you might be from science background. They understand the theory, what I'm trying to tell. Our brain is a hardwired mechanism, which is, very susceptible, very, very sensitive to something like, fear-based circuits. We have a lot of circuits. Many scientists have proved that the human brain is powerful than any modern computer, and which you also agree, right? And that's where our brain is the most powerful organ that you have or it's very sensitive organ. And that's where our brain is 5 times more sensitive to fear-based activities. That means out of the entire circuit system, our brain is very active when you have something like, for example, some fear comes to you, or some sort of, you are getting scared, or maybe something happens and you start getting goosebumps, you start getting you start shivering. That's because there are 5 times more fear-based circuits, and they are very active than the reward-based circuits. If something good happens, we feel happy, we feel joyful. But that doesn't last for a long time. But anything wrong happens, we get bad experiences, someone shouts at us, then that experience lasts long for a long period of time. And then we create a kind of a defense mechanism. The next theory which is there, or which is part of the 1-2-3 model, is that we have modes of processing information. That means our brain always stores information into 2 segments or 2 compartments. One is the conscious information or the conscious mind, and the second is the non-conscious mind. Conscious mind is something which is very obvious, which is like the decisions, the information which is readily available, the information or the activities that we do at the present situation. Like, for example, you are listening to me, you're watching, you're taking notes, you're observing, you're thinking. That's the conscious mind. Non-conscious mind or your subconscious mind is something that, for example, you get dreams, you have some deep thoughts in your mind, some past experiences which get stored in your non-conscious mind, or it is kind of a subconscious mind. And the triune brain is the brain that works together. Now, this is what I wanted to say is, like, for example, it is a kind of an iceberg model, just to give you a very simple, reflection. What we see, what we reveal, or what we are using is just the 20% of the information that our brain stores. That's the conscious mind. That is, whenever we are in the active or we are in the conscious state, we always use the information which is there, the 20% information which is visible, or maybe the 20% of what we are and what people see and observe. But the rest 80% is beneath the surface, beneath the water. And that's called as the subconscious or the pre-conscious or the non-conscious information. And that's deeply, embedded in our brain. That is deeply embedded in our system. That's why someone maybe, getting some dreams, something which happens, and maybe 10 years back, something like you get certain sort of images or certain illusions, and that's what, because the conscious mind, or sorry, the subconscious mind is storing and revealing, or some sort of information has been stored by your memory. And that's what is the concealed information. So brain is a very powerful organ, my dear students. You may not know if you're really using the fullest capacity. And I don't think so. Even Einstein has been, he's like, he has been rewarded, or people have mentioned, or researchers have proven that his IQ level was the highest in the history. Even he said that what human brain, or what humans utilize, is just the 2 or 3% capacity of the entire brain. Then this is what the triune brain, which I was talking about. So this, we have generally, when we call it as brain, many people think that, okay, brain is just an organ. It's full of fats. It's the it's like hardwired. It has a lot of membranes, or fine lining. I can't explain it in the medical terms, but yes, I'm just trying to do it whatever I can. So it can be bifurcated into 3 segments: some brain stem, cerebellum, and cerebrum. Okay, now I'm not going to take you to the anatomy class, but it's just a kind of an understanding. Now, what the brain stem does is primarily it is basically, it does all the necessary activities which your body requires, like taking breath, inhalation or exhaling, or kind of managing the blood pressure. All these things, the signaling happens through the brain stem. Cerebellum is the middle part of the brain. That's the middle section of the brain. Okay. Now, what cerebellum does is very good in coordination. It is like, it helps you to maintain the hand-eye coordination, the balance of the body. That's the role cerebellum does. And cerebrum, which is the major part, is the upper section of your brain. It is the most important, segment, because it helps you to process the information. It is very important, in storing the information. And that's where many people are really, someone says that he's good in English, he's good in mathematics, he's really good in so many other analytical skills are good, because that's the part of the brain which is active for them. Okay, so it decides, it's basically processing the information, doing certain kind of calculations, doing certain analysis. That's cerebrum, which does for you. I've just explained it in a very simple words, mind. You can just do certain research on the same as well. So our brain primarily, why I'm talking on this part is basically, you'll understand the coming slides what is the relevance of this. So our brain is a kind of a sensing machine. You might have seen the ECG, or the kind of machine when you visit hospitals. It just goes beep 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 like this. So that basically oscillates. Our human body is developed to oscillate. Okay, that means movements are expected. If you are stationary, that means you're not using the fullest capacity of your brain, right? So our brain, or our human body, is designed to oscillate. That means to move, and that's where there are sensing patterns. So, like for example, someone touches you or something, like if someone just puts some ice cube on your skin, then you start getting the sensation. And that's where the sensory organ starts, it activates, and it sends signals to your brain. From brain, it starts sending signals to your body, and that's how you react. And that's how our brain is designed, my dear students. But when there are certain off-sync patterns which takes place, something like where you feel insecure, where you feel like there's a fear, some kind of suppression, some kind of insecurity that takes place, these are the signals which directly comes from your brain to your body. And that's how you react. So it is very important for us to understand how a brain functions. Okay? And that's what the 1, 2, 3 model tells us. Next, brain is also called as a modern monkey. A modern monkey mind is primarily something like, for example, you might have seen monkeys, they just swing from one branch to another branch. They just want to grab certain fruits, or, they love eating bananas and that. And that's what monkey mind is. Our human mind is a monkey mind. So the lower part of the brain, that's the brain stem, that's where the information triggers. That's where the information triggers, and that's how it catapults to the entire organ. Now, where you are not able to utilize the fullest capacity of that information or try to act upon that information, and that's where your brain starts getting negative vibes. Then you start getting negative signals, and that's what your monkey brain starts moving from one direction to another direction because you feel restless. And that's what Buddha also says, that you know he says that as a monkey mind, we keep shuffling from one branch to another. And that's what a brain is, like a monkey. If you're not satisfied with one thing, we may just go and do something else. And that's what human brains are designed. So you need to understand that how to control this monkey mind to keep somewhere some consistency, certain kind of stability. You have to design, or you have to design a strategy wherein you can control your monkey mind. Otherwise it will keep shuffling, it will keep swinging, you will not have a complete thought process, and you end up being into a stressful situation. You can read the quote which is written there, and that's where you have to utilize the fullest capacity of your brain and stop the brain from being like a monkey from one branch to another. And then you are like, keep your, you're just swinging from one branch to another branch. And that's what even Gautam Buddha has also mentioned, right? So if we understand that our stress can be of two types, the acute stress and the chronic stress. Now that's what you need to understand, what's positive stress and what's negative stress. Now if you understand acute stress is a short-term stress, something like to do with your day-to-day routine activity, maybe something like like you had a bad day in the office and that's what caused you stress. But that's okay, that may not happen on regular occasion. That pattern is not that regular, it's not consistent, and that's okay. That's a short-term stress. And it also is a very good stress because it helps you to utilize your brain in an effective way to take certain decisions and to act upon to that situation. That's called as acute stress. Maybe you have some important meeting, or maybe you have some important event in the college. You have participated in that event. So that acute stress will always prick you and make you remind that, okay, you have to complete certain things. Maybe you have to prepare for certain skit, maybe for some activity. You do some practice and you ensure that you are all prepared, all set for the D-Day. But the chronic stress on the other side is a long-term stress, which keeps piling up day by day. And that basically drains out the positivity, the energy levels in our mind or in our body. And that's where our body starts feeling nervous. We start getting very conscious of everything happening in and around. We get so susceptible to all the things happening in and around, and we end up getting into a stress. In fact, that stress leads you to something very negative. And that's what chronic stress does. Examples can be, you have some really, you might have been going through bad relationships, your family problem is there, some health issues are there, the environment in which you are living can cause certain chronic stress. So chronic stress, you need to identify. Maybe a stress could have been controlled and managed in a proper way when it was in the acute stage, but then you didn't pay attention, you were not able to handle it in a proper way, and that it has been transitioned from acute to chronic stress. And that's where you get all the health issues. So whereas acute stress will always keep you motivated. Maybe as I gave you an example that, okay, you had some health issues in past and then you started taking care of your health, taking proper nourishment, planning your diet, going for gym, doing some exercises and all that stuff. But chronic stress, once you are into that, that's again a kind of health issues which you get entangled, and then that really becomes difficult for you to manage that. So chronic stress is something which you need to really be aware of. Are you in that chronic stress stage? The question is to you. Identify and then try to ensure that you get out of that stress, okay? Because it may go against you and it may spoil your health, your relationships, your career, and so on. Next. Stress can be addictive, as people say that only drugs, alcohol consumption, gambling, all these factors are only related to addiction. But my dear students, don't be under that myth. Even stress is an addictive thing, okay? Because if you start taking stress, you get used to that lifestyle. Like again, it turns into a chronic stage, and then you are like, every situation becomes stress, 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 and only stress. So the only golden rule which I personally will always give you is primarily stress is just the information. You have to process the information and the energy and make certain adjustments. That's what time management skills are very important in this factor. All the activities that you might think are important to you are not really important to you. You have to prioritize. You have to break it down into certain segments. Maybe if you understand Stephen Covey's time management metrics, you will understand that some activities are urgent but also important. Some activities are not urgent and not at all important. Some activities may be somewhere like you are giving unnecessary importance. It's neither important and neither urgent, like playing mobile games, watching television. It's good to have a leisure time, but then we these leisure time activities should not enter into something which is really important time for you. Maybe something wherein you have to prepare for your projects, wherein you have to complete certain for your exams, for any kind of projects that you have. So that's how your stress builds up. So understand the time management metrics, daily plan your task accordingly, and split up those activities. Don't try to do everything. Don't try to eat everything in one gulp. And that probably will end up, either you have to throw out everything, whatever you have, gulped, and you just have to break the activity in small, fragmented activities, and then you can take bits and pieces here and there, and then that's how you can manage your work accordingly. That won't add stress to what you might have done by just taking everything in one gulp. Next, stress can be a blessing as well. As I told you, not all times stress leads you to health issues, to you getting confused, stuck up anywhere. It can be a blessing. Maybe you can think that, okay, I have a family to take care, I have to spend some quality time with them. That will help you to de-stress by itself. Like you spend some quality time with your family, that will help you to de-stress. So you'll always, this factor will always be there in your mind. Okay, once I complete my college, I have to spend some time with my family, talk to my mother, talk to my father, talk to my brother, sister, or you can just go on around with your friends, spend some quality time with them. In long run, people are also, these type of use stresses can give you kind of a picture. Okay, I have to work hard, I have to plan my career in such a way so that my old age or during my old age, I have a secured lifestyle. I don't have to really go around and do some kind of work at that point of time when my body and my mind won't support to that extent. So you start working, you start planning your financial planning, your career commitments, everything goes in a very smooth direction. So it is as good as you really think for your future. Then you plan your work because you have a stress, you have a commitment. You work accordingly and you ensure that you deliver all your tasks. Maybe once you join the corporate segment, you will be given so many tasks, and then you start you utilizing the stress in a positive way. You plan your activities, you complete it according to the given timeline. That can be a blessing to you. The next is the most important thing, as I told you, financial planning. Instead of spending on unrequired activities or spending on mobile phones, expensive stuffs, which is not required at this point of time, you create certain corpus for the future. And that's because you have a stress, a positive stress, that tomorrow, what if I do not get a, like tomorrow, if I want to settle down or start my business or do something in my career or go for higher education, do I have a stipulated corpus that will support my you know, higher education or my business plan. That stress leads to do some positive things. So stress certainly can be a blessing, my dear students, right? Think upon this. Are you taking the stress? It can be a positive, dosage that you can take on daily basis, a kind of a tablet that you can, gulp every day, and that will give you some sort of positive vibes. It will make you think that yes, you have that capacity, you are have you are having the, skills, the knowledge to bridge that gap between the capacity and the demand, right? So that can be a blessing. Stress can certainly be a blessing to you. Then, how to use stress as an energy fuel? Stress is there. We can't isolate. We can't separate. We can't, live in silos. It is an inevitable part of our lifestyle. But can we utilize it in a positive way? Can it help you to give certain kick, or it can be considered as an energy fuel? Certainly, yes. How? Whenever you are in a stressful situation, always look into the information which is available at that point of time. Is it sufficient for you to take stress, or can that problem be, kept aside, park that problem for some time and then focus on something better? Yes, you have taken a good decision. Next, ask something, ask clarifying questions to get to the core. Maybe your college professor has given you a project. You don't have any understanding on how to go about with the project. But being in stress itself will lead you doing something wrong. But if you garner certain, guts and go to the professor, ask him, okay, I have certain doubts. Can you please guide me? You get to the core of the problem, understand how to do it, what is the process, what is the methodology, and then that will help you to deliver your efforts in the right direction. Next, utilizing the energy that you have, instead of getting bogged down with the stress, it will convert that negative energy into positive energy, and then put that energy in the right direction. That will help you to get out of that stressful situation. It is just that you are only in the acute stage of stress, not in the chronic stage of stress. So I'll just play a video which will help you to understand how we can live a healthy lifestyle. Okay, let's watch a video, how stress can be managed.
Most of us equate stress with a negative experience. However, stress is not all bad. Stress can actually be very helpful and positive. For example, it can move us away from danger or help us get things done. Positive stress is formally referred to as eustress, as opposed to negative stress, which is known as distress. You can easily differentiate between these two types, as positive stress typically has the following characteristics. It is motivating and helps us use our time and energy effectively. It is acute or short-lived. It is perceived as something we can manage. It feels exciting or inspiring. It improves performance and or productivity within our personal and professional life. Examples of stressors that can result in positive stress include receiving a promotion or raise at work, starting a new job, school program, or relationship, making a major purchase, making a big life transition, such as having a child or retiring, taking a vacation, or various holiday times. You can freely enjoy such experiences and the array of feelings they bring. Just be sure to stay mindful so that your positive stress does not become draining and turn into distress.
So I hope this video was very clear to you on how you can manage your lifestyle. Do not allow your stress to take on to your life, because your life is very important than the stress. Okay, let's move on. Now, here are 3 rules of mastering the stress. Okay, you can note it down as you are watching this video. Stress mastery formula. First rule is assess the situation. There are many situations in your life, I would say more than 80%, that is out of your control or out of your purview. You can't do it, like the weather change in the weather conditions. the current pandemic situation, which we can't do anything. Many people have lost their jobs, many people have lost their businesses, and so on. Pressure is always there. But you need to assess, can you do something? Can you change the situation? If you can't change it, then appreciate whatever you have. Appreciate the qualities, appreciate your skill set, and how you can adjust according to the given situation and make the best out of it. Remember, my dear students, problem is not a problem unless you make it feel that it is a problem. You have to dive into understanding the core of it, and then try to see how opportunities are aligned to that problem. Many people thought that, okay, COVID-19 came, a pandemic situation came, and everything will go or will be at standstill. But for some time, yes, it did. But then people have learned to live the life. Now classes are going online. Everything is going online. So that's how a life has transitioned. Change has happened, and many people have learned to appreciate. We have learned to live according to this lifestyle. Next, you have to adjust according to the situation, as I rightly mentioned. So these three things, if you understand and if you try and imbibe that in your lifestyle, I don't think so stress will definitely be like a stress to you. Don't do not allow stress to take control of your life, but you take complete control of the stress, right? Then the most important part when it comes to assessing stress is our brain processes information in the following fashion. First, it senses the problem, the situation. That's where the brain is very active, and it starts sensing the information. Then that sensing of that information gets converted into a feeling. Maybe like if it's hot weather or if it's very cold, windy weather, you start feeling, you start experiencing those chilly weather, or the kind of vibes that you get, or the kind of goosebumps that you have, or you start feeling very uncomfortable. And that's because the weather is actually giving us that kind of signal. And your brain is actually giving you that kind of, the weather is giving you the sense, sorry, and your brain is signaling, and that signal then transitions into feeling. You start feeling, either you feel nervous, you start feeling uncomfortable because the weather is really cool out there. Then your brain will signal, okay, either you have to grab sweater, some jacket or something like that. And that basically gives you some feeling. Either you feel happy, you feel scared, you feel insecure, you feel emotional, touched, something like that. Then you start thinking, what is this? Maybe in that entire process you might also go back, and some flashback memories may come. Or like, let's say, for example, you go to a restaurant and you taste some soup or something, or which is your favorite. Maybe though that taste will remind you past memories, right? Like, okay, you used to come with your family, your mother, your father or your siblings, and used to have a gala time. So that's how a brain signals. And to be very honest, sensing process takes only 1/5 of the second. That's how our brain is so quick to sense, even without touching, even if no one touches you. For example, if someone is standing just besides you, you just start getting that signal that either that person is having some bad intention, or that person who's standing next to you is good or bad. That sensing factor is what our brain immediately catches from the environment. That processing takes place, and then the thinking time to react on that situation, your brain takes half of the second. So see the process. Sensing is very fast, and then the processing takes place. Then you take time, you have time at least of half a second. And that's how you can assess the stress, whether you really need to react on this, whether you have to do something. That's just, you have that fraction of a second in your hand. It's a very critical process, my dear students, and you have to train your brain to understand that even if you get some negative vibes, how you have to react. Okay, so coming to this stage, why we are into stressful situation? Because our brain always craves for three things. First is the capacity, connection, and the clarity part. Now, if there is something positive, some energy level is there in your brain, like as I told you, the brain stem always stores something, something that you have in your mind. You have some activity that you have to do, some energy level which is there in your, some creative thought is there, and it's always starts from your brain stem. If you have the proper capacity to do it, like not really the physical one, but also the resources that are available, the environment, the support that you have, then in addition to the connection, that means you have a good social connect, you have a good family support, you have good connections, plus you have a very good clarity of what you are supposed to do. That entire thought get transitioned into a very positive thing, and then your brain starts acting accordingly to that thought process. But your brain gets stuck in a stressful situation when you lack either of the three things, or you have no capacity, or you lack the capacity, you don't have time, resources, information, then there is a disconnection, you don't have any connection, contacts, you feel insecure, and obviously the lack of clarity gives a complete negative impression, and then you feel stuck up because there's something that you wanted to do, and your brain signals to you that you can't do anything because you do not have the capacity, you do not have the connection, you do not have the clarity. And that's where you have to understand and ask three questions to yourself in any given situation. Do I have the capacity? Do I have the connection, the right connect? Do I have the clarity of doing that? If your answers are yes to all these things, all these three things, definitely I don't think so there's anything that can stop you. But then it is not really possible that in every given situation, in any given problem, that you will always have check marks on all these three things. So the question comes that how do we need to work on? Focus on ensuring that these three things are filled up. You have a proper capacity, the resources which are available. If you do not have, then try and focus on how to get it. Develop good connections with people, good network, have a proper clarity, vision, focus that will help you to complete that task or that activity. Then there are 6 types of stress reactions in any given situation. First is the fight or flight, which comes through your adrenaline gland, because in any given situation, like for example, someone slaps you, you're going, or immediately if someone comes and slaps you, what will happen? Either you will hit back, will punch that person, or either you will fly or you'll just run away because you're scared. That instant trigger comes because of your adrenaline gland. So that's one thing, that's one, one type of reaction to any given stressful situation. Either you fight or either you flight. Okay. The next is freeze or faint. Let's say you're walking in the garden and you see a big cobra, and that cobra is just in your way. So that's a hurdle. So either you'll freeze, wait, you'll not get scared, you just hold on, let that cobra pass away, and then you will walk out, or either you'll just faint off. So that's, I'll certainly faint because I can't really see a cobra like this, but that's how we react to, and that happens because of the cortisol gland which triggers that reaction. Then tend or befriend, which is caused because of oxytocin or estrogen glands. Now, this is basically in any given stressful situation. This basically happens with the female counterparts, because they generally in any given stressful situation they always believe to have someone standing besides them, a kind of a protective environment that they believe in creating. It's not only with female, but even with male also it happens. But generally, researchers have proven that mostly female counterparts, they believe in having some kind of security, someone standing beside them, someone as a protection in any given situation. Okay, so that's how our brain signals. Okay, And this all happens because our brain works in 4 phases. First is the sensory perception, whether this it is a really dangerous situation. Do I need to fight or flight? Whether I'm going to freeze or faint, or whether I'm going to tend or befriend. Then the brain processes that information, passes on to your body, the message goes to your body, and then that's a physical response, that either you give a punch back to the person, or either you fly, or you run away, or either you faint, or you freeze, or either you tend or befriend. So these 4 aspects immediately works in any given stressful situation. Now, I won't say that fight or flight is the best thing or whatever you have to choose, but depending on the situation, you have to train your brain that what is the best response in any given situation, right? So that's how stress creates that kind of triggers in your brain, and how you react to that, that's the most important question. You can't control the external environment, but you can certainly control the process that happens once your brain signals something to you. Then here's a kind of a stress audit. I want you to do it in your free time. Now here's 1 to 5. These are the parameters. Like for example, what are the, these are the certain parameters you can add as much as you want, like time, energy, money, health, social support, meaning or purpose of life. Which of these factors, now you note down all the factors, and you can check mark which of the factors are contributing stress, and in what quantum they are contributing. Like 1 being the lowest, that they do not contribute anything. I'm completely fine. I have ample of time. I have ample of energy, so that's not causing any stress. Okay. Somehow I have been a social animal, so that's okay. I'm an average social animal, so that's not a stress. I have people, I have good friends, I have good connections. Purpose of life, yes, that can be a stress at this point of time because you are very novice, and you have just started your journey. So that is not a priority as such, but yes, that can definitely be a stress factor in the coming journey of your life. So whatever it is, it's completely personal. It is completely your call. You can take this stress audit, list down the parameters. Maybe you can add few more parameters, which in addition to what I've just mentioned, and you can just check mark. At least you are doing some audit. You can just understand that, okay, these are the areas I need to work on, and you have to do some deep thinking. Maybe spend some time alone for 1 hour or so, or you can take 1 week of time, go to a garden, sit in solace, and just think that how am I reacting to these stressful situations, or these parameters, what quantum they have, or what quantum of contribution they have in my stress level. You have to do a deep thinking on this, and you can just check mark. Are they not at all contributing to my stress? Somehow I'm able to manage. They are average, like not too high, not too low. It is contributing somewhere, the parameter is high or it is too high. So you have to focus on these areas, do a deep thinking on this, meditate if possible. This will definitely yield you certain result. So this is your exercise that you can do it in your free time. Here's a short video of how you generally react in a given stressful situation. So I'll just play this video for you.
Have you run away from a saber-toothed tiger recently? Maybe you haven't, but the stress response you feel when you are late to work, or the growl your stomach makes when you haven't had anything but an energy bar and coffee in the morning, is the same stress response we had when we were cavemen. That stress response is called fight or flight. Grunk is a real-life caveman. He goes to work hunting saber-tooths and rabbits for his family. Unfortunately, the saber-tooth chases Grunk on occasion, and his physical and emotional stress levels go way up. When this happens, Grunk's body's intelligence kicks in to help him escape. His heart rate goes way up, his blood pressure spikes, more adrenaline is produced, and the body moves the blood away from the digestive tract and into the muscles, as digesting food isn't a priority at that moment. Grunk eventually does escape and rests at home, and after 15 to 20 minutes, his body resets and begins to operate normally again. Now, your body doesn't know the difference between running from a saber-toothed tiger or rushing your kids to school. Your body's stress response is triggered in both situations, so your blood pressure, heart rate, and food digestion is the same as Grunk's when he's running away from a tiger. These types of situations could happen every day in our culture. The difference between you and the caveman is the caveman was able to relax in his cave soon after he finished stressing out. So for the whole day, the caveman would stress the duration of a hunt, which would last maybe an hour. You, on the other hand, have to deal with the stress of racing your kids to school, traffic, work, relationships, and everything else that life constantly throws at you. Plus, add in the constant chemical stress that comes from the unhealthy foods we eat, and it's like you are running from the saber-tooth all day long. The solution is to build your own cave. You have to build your own cave every day, and it means finding some peace in the pileup of traffic while driving to work. It means going to bed on time instead of staying up late binging on your favorite TV shows. It means taking some time to go outside and do some relaxing work instead of locking yourself up in your office. Otherwise, this chronic stress will open you up to most diseases because your immune system will tank and a lack of nutrients that your body needs due to not being able to digest your food properly. Add to that the fact that your adrenals, which are the glands that sit atop your kidney and decide where your hormones go, are so active with the abundance of stress you experience and put into your body, you will develop adrenal fatigue. Put all this together, and now you know why stress is the start of all disease processes. How can we make our fight or flight more effective? How can we turn it off when we don't need it and bring it up when it's necessary? Ask yourself what you are putting in your body for energy. Your body is probably asking your brain for those artificial stimulants you gave it, like coffee, processed sugars, or genetically modified foods, because it's confused on why the adrenals aren't filling up like they used to. You have sucked your adrenals dry of hormones that didn't need to be active in the first place. That's huge because we are taking a finite source and sucking it dry. What people may not know is that a lot of things trigger the fight or flight response. Emotional stresses, eating unhealthy foods, overreacting to life's daily challenges, going through tough emotional times, all trigger fight or flight. However, that leaves a lot of areas where we can improve it. So if this video has successfully stressed you out with all the info it's loaded you up with, you should take a minute to relax. At least you don't have a tiger running after you. If you always put limit on everything you do, physical or anything else, it will spread into your work and into your life. There are no limits. There are only plateaus. And you must not stay there. You must go beyond them. Bruce?
So I guess this video was quite clear to all. So there are certainly no limits when you think from your personal front. Your brain is much more capable to take good decisions. But just the only thing is that how you manage the stress and give certain space. The cave is basically a space that you give to yourself just to get out of that stressful situation.
Have you run?
Managing stress for a positive for positive change can be done in the following way. So breathing is one of the most important activity that you have to start doing it from regular basis. In fact, if you have never focused on breathing, you have to really focus on that, because when you breathe slowly, your heartbeat also shifts into a rhythmic and coherent state, and that's where you are able to take proper decisions, right? Studies have also shown that breathing at a pace of about 6 breaths per minute, or maybe around a count of 5, can also help you to get into the relaxation state, because our life is full of ups and downs. We rush here and there, we have to do so many things, and that's how our adrenaline gland keeps pumping that, and your heart has to do a lot of pumping activity. You're unintentionally adding too much pressure on your organs, and that's how, in at least most of the medical experts have also mentioned that at least 1 hour or 15 to 30 minutes of brisk walk, if not 1 hour, is compulsory. Okay, you can do it in the morning, you can do it also in the evening, and some sort of meditation or yoga practice can help you to lead a healthy lifestyle. Then the breathing, when you breathe in a coherent state, in a proper phase, like how I have mentioned, 5 to 6 breaths per minute, can help you to relax your mind. And the mind always gives you certain sort of signals. When you start breathing properly, you are in a situation where you can control your mind. and your decisions, to be very honest. So here is one thing which you can do some breathing practice, wherein you can just hold on for till the time the ball just drops on, and then you can exhale. Again, you can hold at the count of 5. Then again, you have to inhale, hold, exhale, then again hold, inhale, hold, exhale. So basically, this breathing exercise helps us to concentrate on our mind. It helps you to take decisions in a prudent way, because in the fist of the activity, or in just we are just too tied up with something, we are not able to take proper signals from the brain. And our brain also wants certain relaxation. It's always in that either you have to we either give so much of pressure, or either we do not utilize our brain completely. But you have to believe that oscillation is very important. Ensure that you do certain exercises, breathing exercises, some sort of brisk walk, some anything that keeps you motivated, controls your blood pressure in a proper way, in a rhythmic way. By doing certain exercises helps you to manage the stress effectively. So this is how you can do it in an effective way. So again, creating a resilient culture, or a kind of a cave that we saw in the video, because we don't have any control on the external factors like the noise, the environment, like the colors, the sunshine, or whatever environment that we live in, we do not have any control. But what control is we can change our perspective. Stop just blaming the environment. Okay, that this is what is contributing to my stress, I can't do anything. But you have to build your own resilient culture. That means your mind is trained in such a way that you are least concerned of what is happening in and around you, because you have built a cave, a protection for yourself, so that anyone cannot just come and tell you something and you start taking stress. So that filtration process is very important, because that helps you to control the volume of stress which comes in your life. And that happens only when you develop a resilient culture. How to develop resilient culture is basically start thinking positive. I have given you the formula of assessing the stress, then adjusting according to the environment, and always appreciate of what you have. Start focusing in any given stressful situation. Think of what good you have, and that will help you to that will help you to keep yourself motivated and pumped up. Then remember, the more we oscillate, the more our brain works better, and the more positivity comes in our life. Oscillation is just the movement. Keep your brain active in a positive way. That will give you proper results, that will help you to come out of any given stressful situations and utilize yourself, utilize your brain and the situation effectively. And finally, here are 4 tips that help you to create a personal and group transformation. At personal level, if we focus, get as clear as possible. In any given situation, try and take maximum information for any given situation before you wait till the 11th hour and then you do not have anything. Half-hearted information will never give you a good clarity. It will always lead you to a stressful situation. So always have information at hand. Avoid trying doing a lot of things at one go. Again, I told you, break down into small pieces, molecules, and then digest. That will help you to digest that information, that work in a proper way, or plan that activity in a proper way. Prioritizing work, as I told you, the time management matrix of Stephen Covey's will definitely help you to plan your activity, your calendar accordingly, and that will not lead to any unwanted stress. And definitely learn to say no when it is required. Do not give fake commitments to anyone when you know that you are completely preoccupied, you don't have time to do anything. So that will help you not to add additional fuel to your stress life. So, with this, I end my presentation. Thank you so much for watching it patiently. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. You have explained a nice positive side of a stress by analyzing all factors causing the stress. Also, you have explained how to take the stress positively. Stress can be blessings thinking what we have in our life. Nice family, friends, and many things which are made for us. You take this stress only as a gap between demand and capacity and just think that how to minimize this gap. Stress audit also help you to measure how much stress you have and how to manage the stress tricks will be also useful to relax our body and mind. With this successful journey of our induction program, full with positive energy, excitement, full with information, and a tour of our beautiful college, which opens a new doors to various fact, knowledge types. Yes, students, I, Professor Pooja Paratade, with Dr. Shubhangi Puranik, try to make you feel comfortable with the environment of our college and also facilities of our college at some extent. Rest you can experience when you will visit our college. Hope that this day will come very soon. Now, our Vice Principal and IQAC Coordinator, Dr. Anjali Sardesai, is joined with us. I would like to request her to give the feedback of this induction program. Over to Dr. Anjali Sardesai, Madam.
It was indeed a real stress free session, actually, I should say. That is the first feedback that has come to my mind. Sir has well explained about the negative and positive stress for values. Holding the problems is the basic stress level that we can consider. One thing I just liked very much, that is stress can be taken as a blessing. So if we consider this, in what way we can consider this, sir has very nicely explained it. Uh, the stress audit, I would recommend everyone who is watching this particular session, please go for the stress audit, which will help yourself to come out of your stress and to understand what stress level you are. And these are the some of the things which are very very important for all of us in this very busy schedule that we are following right now. There can be any type of stress. Names To name those, it is a big list. And a simple stress is, I do not have an internet. That can be a stress. But how much you carry yourself more calmly to the situation will definitely help you out. That is the outcome of today's session. We thank Stephen sir for the excellent speech that he has given, and he has given a new door to our students to follow at the beginning of their career in through this induction program. We are very much thankful to Stephen sir. Uh, to just give a brief summary about this particular induction program, we started this induction program with the motive that the students, there is some notification from University Grants Commission, New Delhi, to conduct the induction program for all the entry level students, and that was basic objective behind this particular program. We started on 1st of September with Principal's address, Dr. R.S. Zunzarao sir. He give a very nice guidance to all our students. The second day was about the academics, autonomy, credit system, examination. And the third day, it was about the library, sports, Then on the fourth day, we conducted NSS, NCC, Art Circle, Student Development. On third day, we also talked about placement activities. Those are carried out in our college. Then we are having so many committees, and each and every committee has got its own objectives and to do's to do in the throughout the year. And the main committees are, as it is an Arts Science Commerce College, so we are basically having the Science Association, Commerce Association, and Arts Association. So the chairpersons of respective committee, they gave the brief about these committees. The main objective of all these sessions is to let the students know about the culture of the college, the different activities those are conducted in the college, and this is going to be the guideline for all the students, which is basically the mm, uh, which is going to help them to take part in different activities throughout the year. Then some learning approach, then value-based education, and career guidance. These particular things were uh, included in this particular induction program. Why value-based education was given much importance is because of the current lifestyle of the society. The students are going in a technological era, and they are going away from the society. There is a fear that how they will be surviving with the society, how what are going to be the family values, what are going to be the society values, what are going to be the self values. This is basically the motive behind all these value based education sessions those we have conducted in this particular induction program. I'm very happy to announce over here that we are having, being the autonomous college, we are having one course as a value-based education, and this course is. I'm happy that Prashant sir, he is a teacher for that particular course. So you will be listening to him again during your course that you will be going through. Secondly, we are having some different type of courses also. Those I have mentioned during my session, and you have to be very careful about attending all those MOOC type of courses. That is a most massive open online courses. You have to be very very careful about attending all those courses, because those are going to be the courses which will be present in your login, and those will be present for a specific duration of time. So you have to submit all your assignments, all the examinations during that time, otherwise you will lose the chance to get the marks for those assignments. I'm just reminding this to you once again. About let me just come back to one part that I just wanted to mention, that in previous lectures and on the notices also we have posted that your lectures will be starting now. This induction session is over. Through this, you have understood what your college is, how many activities your college is getting is conducting for you, what are the different opportunities those are present for you, so that you can develop yourself through the curricular, extracurricular, and co-curricular activities. Uh, Now the point is, your regular online lectures will be starting from 13th Monday 13th of September, and we are going to post the timetable by tonight. So timetables are ready. The timetables will be posted on moderncollegepune.edu.in/notices. So you can search for these notices over here, over there. You will get to know how what are your timetables for all the UG courses, first year UG courses, and this YTY timetable is already present over there. Second part I want to mention, this is very very important part, that our lectures will be on the MS Teams, that is a Microsoft Teams. So all your lectures will be conducted under Microsoft Teams. How to log into Microsoft Teams, how to install Microsoft Teams on your devices. All the information is given on the notices section, and the same page, that is where your timetable will be present. So please go through that document and act accordingly. You might have received the email stating your team's ID and Mugrasis ID. You will be getting two different IDs. So one ID is your enrollment number, this enrollment number will be there for you for next 3 years. So for 3 years, you will be carrying the same roll number. We are calling this as an enrollment number. The password and enrollment number is also sent via email to all of you. You have to keep and watch with your emails hence onwards. The MS Teams IDs are starting with S dash and your enrollment number. So it becomes easy for the candidate to understand, to remember the things. So your ID starts with S dash and enrollment number @ moderncollegepune.ac.in. So this is going to be your Teams ID. The password is also sent to you in the same email. So in email, you are receiving two different IDs. One is your uh, enrollment number, that is which you will be using to log into your ERP portal, that is a Mugrasys portal, and second one you will be using to attend your online lectures on MS Teams and to give the online examinations, to appear for the online examinations on MS Teams. So this both of these IDs are very much important, and in case you do not receive the ID, please send email to admission@moderncollegepune.edu.in. I'm repeating the email ID, admissions@moderncollegepune.edu.in. So we are once again sending the email to you tonight or tomorrow morning. Please be ready with your MS Teams installed on your devices. You may use the devices as a smartphones or tablets or PCs or laptops, and you can use install MS Teams. You will be able to understand that. So with this, we conclude with this induction program. We are very happy to uh, serve you during this induction program. All our team, they are very happy, and they have done their job very excellent, in excellent manner. uh, I thank the brain behind this induction program, our principal, Dr. R.S. Zunzarao sir, and for the minute level planning and the effective implementation follow-up for this induction program. Thank you so much, sir. We thank all the vice principals and HODs and staff members of Modern College for the active participation in this particular program. We thank all the resource persons who gave their inputs and with the different insights to the topics allocated to them. So we thank all of them from the bottom of our hearts. We thank to the pillar of this induction program. There are three pillars on which this whole induction program was successfully completed. Dr. Shubhangi Purani, Professor Pooja Paratne, and Professor Samir Nerlekar. Without the support and the contribution of these three staff members, this program would not have been completed successfully. Thank you once again. We wish all the best to all the students for their future career in Modern College, and we welcome you all once again to Modern College. And congratulations for selecting Modern College as a stepping stone towards your career. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you, madam, for your appreciation and kind words for conduction of this induction program. I would like to thank Mr. Prashant Stephen sir for his valuable time and valuable thoughts shared with us. Also, I would like to thank all the speakers who have delivered the lectures, their talks, and gave the information uh, about their committees and activities. I also thank you, our Honorable Principal Dr. R.S. Zunzarrao, for his encouragement and motivation to conduct this program. I also give the special thanks to Dr. and Vice Principal and IQAC Coordinator Dr. Anjali Sardesai for her continuous support to continue to conduct this program. Without their help, it was not possible to conduct such a nice program. I would like to give the special thanks to Professor Samir Nerlekar for uninterrupted technical support. Thank you, sir, very much. With kind permission of Honorable Principal and Vice Principal, I declare that this 9 days induction program is over.